Hi, peeps. Welcome back in. Ready for another talk with me. I was looking back through some different episodes that we had done. And one of the things that I hadn't really seen in a while, I feel like I did this episode, but maybe it was last year, is what are the qualities of a healthy mom versus a toxic mom? And I thought that's such a simple episode that I could have done. I've done it before now, but I looked back through quite a few months and had not seen anything. And I just thought it would be worth, if I've done it before, it's worth doing again. If I haven't done it yet, it should have been done. So let's get into, can you achieve the qualities of a healthy mom if you've been raised by a toxic mom? It's kind of a good question to ask. And if you can identify the differences of what toxic is versus healthy, sometimes we think we're being healthy and we're actually being toxic. If we can recognize the differences of those, then I think we can achieve being a pretty healthy mom. I didn't say perfect, I said healthy. So let's dive into this question. One of the things that I've really enjoyed as I've gotten older is becoming a grandma. Mostly because you get to spoil them and then they go home, but but mostly too because I look at the things that I did as a mom, and I can be different with my grandchildren. Even as a mom, um, the first time around, it's like there are certain things that come up that at the time I hadn't been going through the training that I've gone through in the last 5 years. And so I had a spirituality about me. I was trying to be the best mom I could be. I was asking other people about certain things, knowing that I've grown up, with this toxic mom, and that there were certain things that were left over in me that I was probably going to impart into my children. I tried to kind of go into those things, but I don't think I really knew the depth of what that was. And so I wanted to bring some awareness to continue to just be the best mom in their lives. And in order to do that, we have to go back and kind of dig through, like, what were the things that we can recognize that our moms did that were actually just basic toxic traits. And so we have to realize, like, do we have the faith to change that? Do we have the skills to change that? Do we have the want to change it? Or do we just make excuses and say that's just the way we've always done it? Or my mom was just, crazy in that area, and I guess I am too. That's just the way it's going to be. Do you want to be in a healthier place with your children, or do you want to raise them in a toxic environment, or thinking that you're doing it differently? Well, my mom was way worse than I was, and so therefore I should be fine, just with the mediocre kind of mothering. And I see a lot of women doing that, where they just kind of push aside, like, my mom was crazy, she was toxic, she was this, she was that. But I'm better. Like, I'm doing better. And it's like, well, in what realm? Like, are you doing better? Have you figured out what the things were? And are you making a change in that? Or are you just pushing aside those big major things, but then there are things that you react to that are actually triggers for you, and you don't realize it, and you're imparting that on your children. So I've been making some friends at my second home in Southern California, and it's been so great to meet some of the neighbors down there. And amazingly enough, of course, I swear God just places us in the right positions, but I've met a couple of neighbors that I've become pretty close to, and one of them is a woman that lives across the way, and we've been doing these breakfasts together whenever I come into town. And of course, we went to breakfast and we started talking, and come to find out, we've been raised in similar situations, and she was unmothered, and also she's had a really interesting hard life, as I have in our younger years, and then learning how to raise our kids through this trauma-filled world that we were in. So we sat and talked about the differences of toxic mothering versus healthy mothering, and the things that we needed to learn and grow from in order to help our girls. And also the mistakes that we made along the way and how we were called out by our girls for certain things that we imparted on them, not even realizing. And I think that that is the most important thing, is knowing you're gonna mess it up. Like, there is no way everybody's going to do everything right and you're going to come away saying, my daughter loved every single thing that I did for them, or I was just the best mom ever and we never fought. I do occasionally hear moms saying, like, my daughter, I just don't understand when people say their teenage daughters are hard. My daughter and I never fight and we never, we always get along. And I think, well, she's probably not telling you what she really wants to say. She's telling you what you want to hear. And maybe she is easy to get along with. Maybe she's not, emotional and all of that kind of stuff and doing the pulling away when they start to do that as an adult. There is a pulling away that has to happen. But more often than not, I do hear mom saying, like, all of a sudden my daughter is irritated with me and she's changed and she's around 16, 17, and we think we're doing something wrong. And so, being a healthy mom, you have to know, like, it's okay. You're still being a good mom. There is a learning curve that your daughter has to learn growing into an adult that she needs to pull away and start thinking on her own. A toxic mom is going to either hold on to that tight or start throwing verbiage at her daughter that is not kind, and it's going to be abusive. And so there are differences that we can learn being a mother in a healthy relationship, and realizing also that there is a natural pulling away with our girls that's going to happen, that they will come back around when they grow up. I can guarantee that. And they will come back and they will be your friend eventually. They don't need to be your friend right now, but they will be loving and you will be in a healthy place with them if you allow them to grow. The healthy mom cares about her daughters. A toxic mom doesn't. And let's just cover some points about that, because I think that's really important. The first thing that I noticed about my toxic mom is that I was always on high alert with her. Like, everything, I had to consider all her feelings. It was almost like I walked in a room and had to monitor the situation to see what kind of mood she was in so that I could work around that. There wasn't a selflessness. When you're a healthy mother, there's a selflessness that comes with, you want the best for your child. You're not asking your child to worry about you. You want to help your child and be the best that she can be or he can be. And that wasn't the case with my toxic mom. It was always about her feelings and what she needed. And my feelings were either didn't matter or they just were non-existent. I couldn't even bring my feelings into it. A toxic mom is just extremely selfish. And my mom's go-to words were always, you just don't understand. And because really what that meant was, I don't want to talk about it or I don't want to get help for it. And so she would just say, you just don't understand. You don't understand. Like, don't even ask me. You just don't understand. That was just a famous last word for her. Or she would always say, I promise it's going to get better. We would be in these extremely hard situations and she would say, I promise you it's going to get better. And that never happened. And sometimes things got worse. And so I learned at an early age that I couldn't trust when someone says, I promise you it's going to get better. Or they would say, just trust me. If somebody said that to me, it was like, that was a red flag for me, where I would say, I don't trust you at all, because I was raised by a toxic mom that lied about those things. A healthy mom will never make promises that she can't keep. If she does, it's a one-off. Like, it's, there was a couple times where I'm like, I promise I'm going to win this trip to Disneyland. And it didn't happen. And then I'd have to go to my kids and say, I messed up. I didn't earn the trip. I probably shouldn't have talked about the trip. I didn't earn the trip. But those are minor things compared to like big things. Like when you're getting kicked out of an apartment and, she's saying, I promise it's going to get better. But then she throws you into another situation where it's not better. those are things that as an adult you learn that's you can't trust those words. And so you don't want to be that kind of mom who is just throwing things to the wind, seeing if it sticks on a wall. It's not going to stick. It's just damaging your kids, and that's toxicity. And you don't want to continue to do that to your children. So be careful with your words. A toxic mom is going to make you feel guilty if you dare ask for anything or have an opinion. And if you disagree with her, oh, that's like, nope, you'll become the enemy. So you cannot disagree with her. You can't have an opinion. You just go along with whatever she wants. A healthy mom's always going to listen and respect your opinion. She may not agree with you on everything, but she's never going to make you feel bad for having your own thoughts. And so that's a really, really important thing. You love your girl and you want to treat her as an individual. She's not a mini you. She doesn't have to do everything you want in order for you to love her. It's not conditional. You respect the spirit that she is. Even in our family, both of my girls are extremely different. And I respect that because I love the spirit of who they are. I actually love that more because I think it would be kind of crazy if both my girls were exactly the same and said the same things and did the same things and wanted to be the same way because they think that that's how they're supposed to be. I love the fact that these babies could come out of your body and still be two completely different spirits. I think that is amazing. And it's beautiful to watch them grow and become their own person. And so a healthy mom respects that and loves that. A toxic mom is going to make them all toe the line, act the same way, be the same way, and never have their own opinions, their own loves, their own passions. That's just not even in their verbiage. And so recognizing that and knowing you don't want to repeat that in your family. Let your kids be who they want to be and respect the fact that one may be more quiet than the other, one may be more boisterous, one may be more athletic, someone else wants to sit on a couch and read a book. All of those things are okay. And if you're a healthy mom, you're going to respect those differences. So doing this work as a mom is probably the hardest thing that you'll ever do, and it is the most rewarding. So be sure that you know, even when you're not getting kudos from your kids, when they go through these different age groups where they're just like, ugh, rolling their eyes and momming you to death, that you are doing a good job. It's probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. And so getting to that healthy state and knowing that I needed to not create those toxic traits that my mom had thrown at me as a child was really important to dig through those things. And learning about trauma and how it affects your brain has probably been one of the best things that I've ever studied in my life. That has been something that I enjoy teaching other women. And I hear this a lot with the women that come on my private Facebook group, the UnMothered community. They have to answer 3 questions to get on there. You're welcome to join if you answer the 3 questions and you have been an unmothered woman. And most of the time I hear, one of the questions is what kind of mom you grew up with and what are some of the issues that you have with her. And almost always I hear she's toxic and she's a narcissist, or she's an abuser of drugs and she's really toxic. And a lot of these moms, the mothers that they grew up with, have issues with substance abuse because they're trying to mask the emotional side of the turmoil that's going on within their own bodies. And so they're numbing out and they think that you won't see it. And when we see it and feel it, we will get attached to it if we don't recognize that this is exactly what they're trying to do, is numb out to become more normal and what they consider healthy, but it's actually not. So you need to make sure that you don't attach yourself to those lies and those kind of things, because I see this a lot with ladies that have grown up with toxic moms is they start continuing those same traits. It's like, well, it's wine Tuesday or wine Wednesday or whatever and then it becomes an every night thing. And then it's like, well, I have to take this prescription pill because now I don't feel good about this. And then taking a little bit of more of that. And let me go smoke some pot because like that's going to help me manage my children because they're stressing me out. And it's those kind of tendencies. We see this in the Facebook group with the toxic moms. Of like, there's almost every single woman that comes into that private group tells me my mom has alcohol abuse, substance abuse, a lot of mental issues, like lots of things. And it's all combined into this, let me numb it out, numb it out. And that's what my mom did, is that she would drink alcohol to bring her depression to an even keel and her anxiety. And it was like, would combine into this numbing out, and she would feel good for a few minutes, and then she would go into this drunk state, and then it would become a rage. And so it didn't help long term. It actually made it worse. But without recognizing where that trauma was coming from, she just needed something to like elevate her level of anxiety and what she was going through. She didn't want to feel what she was going through. So she would just numb it out. The toxicity came when she would rage that out on us as kids and not really realize that we had nothing to do with her being stressed out to that point. I mean, all kids can stress you out, but it was really more about the issues that she had. And so when you're a toxic mom, you're just doing whatever you can to get through the day. You're not thinking of the welfare of your children. A healthy mom is going to think about that. A healthy mom may be in a place where she's like, oof, I had a little bit too much to drink, or I did something a little bit off. Let me pull that back and see what that's about so that you can course correct, right? And start thinking about doing something different that's more healthy, because you are, again, going to be selfless for your children. You're doing this for you and your kids. You want to be in a healthier place. You don't want to repeat the same kind of thing. That's a healthy mom. A toxic mom doesn't even think of those things. It's what can I do today to serve me, to make me feel better? And your kids have no placement in that. So just know that. One, your kids are going to stress you out. So when I talk about healthy moms, I'm not saying a perfect mom that's never going to get mad at her kids, that's going to do every single thing right, that never gets stressed out, that doesn't cry, that doesn't scream at her kids occasionally. If you're screaming them out all the time, that's a problem. But, you know, they've all led us to these places. I see it all the time where moms go, I feel like a horrible mother. I got so mad at my daughter and I screamed at her. And I'm like, we've all screamed at our kids. Like, that's normal. That's healthy. If it's like, I can count on, you know, one hand the times I've completely gone off on my girls because it was a stressful moment. That's still being healthy. And then you recognize what it is. Also, you can go back. Here's a healthy mom. You can go back and go, hey, I've had to do this. Hey, I'm really sorry. I got really mad at you because this is how I felt. Not because they did something wrong completely. I don't want you to put it back on them. This is how I felt when this happened, right? Let's talk about it. Maybe they can course correct on some behaviors that they're having. When you can have an open conversation with your kids, that's healthy parenting. Toxic parenting doesn't even get to that level. It is just my way or the highway. So here's just a couple of tips before we end out of this is recognize what kind of home that you grew up in and see if there's something that needs to be tended to for yourself. You have to know that when you've gone through that kind of toxic parenting, there's some deep wounds there that need to be tended to, and that's up to you. That's not up to your kids. You can't blame your kids and say, well, they stressed me out and that's why I did this. No, this is on you. Find those things that need to be tended to and get some help for them, either professionally or talk to somebody that you feel safe with. Don't let a toxic mom destroy the kind of mom that you wish to be with your children. This is the most important thing. I am all about generational dysfunction. I feel like in these times, especially, women need to stand up and say, not in my family. My family is going to be different. My family is going to be healthy. I'm not going to let this continue to be this generational curse. You are the chain breaker in your family. If you've been the chosen one, if you are listening to this podcast and you're like, I'm the one that wants to make changes in this kind of situation that has been long brewing in our family. You are the chain breaker. If this ends with you, you have to be responsible for this, and you have to say, I'm going to make the changes that are necessary in me to help my family. Ask God to dig into some hard parts and truths and sit with those. Don't rush through them. It's time to grieve those things that you've gone through as a child and move towards some spiritual healing. This is so important. We can't do this without God. You can't do this on your own. This isn't something that you can be stronger and get through. I watch women try to do this all the time. You need to have a spiritual foundation. You have got to ask God to show you slowly to walk through this craziness that you've gone through and help your family be in a better place. So make sure, again, talk to somebody that you trust. If you have a spiritual friend, ask them to guide you through some things, guide you through some grief processes, guide you through some verses that will help you. Journal through those. Ask God to show you like where these things will fit into your life. And you'll be amazed at the strength that you can gain through having a strong spiritual base. And as I've said before, if you have a toxic mom that is still alive and still in your life, you're going to have to set a huge boundary line around her so she doesn't destroy the family that you're trying to create. You can still love your mom and let her be loved separately from having her come in and destroy the thing that you're trying to change in your family. This is a really hard thing, but I'm a hard line on this one. I see women that allow their moms to come in and just whip everything around and spin it around and turn it topsy-turvy in women's houses, their daughters' houses, and then they're like, ugh, my mom is just, she drives me crazy and she doesn't listen to the things that I want to do with my kids. And she shoves aside all of my opinions. And I'm like, she's not respecting your home. If she's not respecting your home, then you're going to have to meet her somewhere else. And if she doesn't respect you there, then you're going to have to eventually go no contact. That is just the only way you can do this to change the family dynamic of what you've grown up in and to create being a healthy mom. Know that your own parenting is not going to be perfect, and that's okay. It's all okay. I can tell you, I'm standing here. I have 2 grown daughters. They still love me. They think I'm crazy, but they still love me. And you know, you can do this. It's not going to be easy. You don't need to do it perfectly. You're not going to do it perfectly, but do it with love. Do it with faith. Do it with the promise that things are going to be different than the way you've been raised. And you're going to continue and grow and be the best version of yourself. Don't grow up thinking that you know it all. You don't need to learn all. I will learn until the day I die. I am constantly reading. I'm constantly studying. I will keep learning so that I can be a better version of myself for me and for my children and my grandchildren and hopefully great grandchildren. Maybe I'll still be around. I don't know. But that is the goal. So always be learning, always be studying, be open to hearing really good new things that will take you to a healthier version of who you are. And I think that that is it for this episode. So hopefully this gave you some good ideas to break away from either toxic moms or maybe toxic parenting and get to the healthiest place that you can be for you and your family. And until next time, peeps, I'll see you later.